Holy shit. A real fucking icebox.
There is no spoon.
What's wrong? Seriously? Auto-updating now? General, I won't be able to calculate the right data for the satellite for 49 minutes.
How long till impact?
11 minutes and 44 seconds.
Fuck Microsoft!
Well, they call them interdimensional beings.
He, specifically asked for you, sweetheart.
By our powers combined, we give you the Galactic Family Podcast.
Put the phone down.
Hello, my name is Nick Pope, formerly from the British UFO Desk, and you're listening to the Galactic Family Podcast.
It's probing time.
Hey, how's everyone doing in the Galactic Family Podcast world today? Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Galactic Family Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Albertson. I'm truly grateful that you've chosen to spend part of your day with us. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to mention our co-host, Jim Andre, founder of the Alien Truth Connection Network. Unfortunately, Jim isn't able to join us today due to some ongoing health issues. Jim, if you're watching or listening later, our entire community is thinking of you, and we wish you nothing but the very best, a speedy recovery, and we look forward to having you back with us as soon as you're feeling better. I also wanted to give a huge shout out to all of our amazing Galactic Family members. Let me get it pulled up on the screen here. And everyone in our Discord community. Many of you have been working tirelessly behind the scenes, researching, documenting, and investigating CE5 experiences, reviewing the evidence and sharing your observations, and you're also collaborating with one another. Your dedication, curiosity, and willingness to approach these topics with open minds and respectful discussions are helping build one of the most engaged communities out there. Thank you for everything you do. You truly are the backbone of this podcast, and that will be our researching, documenting the CE5 experiences. We also have a research collaboration group in our Discord community that's been researching and documenting different CE5 experiences that we've been going through. And also, I'd like to take a moment very quickly to congratulate my brother, Jeremy Albertson, on launching his new business, Albertson Trucking Services, LLC. Starting your own company takes a tremendous amount of hard work, dedication, and courage. Brother, here at the Galactic Family, on behalf of the entire family, we wish you nothing but safe travels and many prosperous years ahead. Congratulations. Now, we are going to today's episode is going to be packed with some fascinating topics. We'll be taking a look at the latest UFO and UAP news, discussing one of the biggest stories making the headlines, and what they could mean for the future of disclosure. We'll also be wrapping up our deep dive into the laboratory metallurgy report, covering the remaining findings and exploring what the scientific analysis may tell us. If you caught part one, you definitely won't want to miss this conclusion of part two of what the metallurgy report actually said in the ending, what it actually could be. And before wrapping up, I'll also be sharing several exciting updates about what's coming next for the Galactic Family Podcast, including Lieutenant, let me see here, Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet, and a couple other upcoming guests that are future and live events that will be coming up, community research initiatives, and new opportunities for everyone to get involved as we explore these mysteries together. As always, thank you for being part of this incredible community, whether you're watching live, listening later, or participating in our Discord research groups. Your passion, your questions, and your commitment to exploring the unknown are what makes this community so special. So sit back, let's grab your favorite drink, and let's explore another episode of the Galactic Family Podcast together. All right. First, I want to get into it with saying that Avi Loeb has been in the news a lot lately, and I just want to bring him up on this, that he's been a scientist that says he only deals in the knowns and he wants to see it for his own eyes, right? So then why would he be so interested in getting involved in CE5 events and research groups that, to my knowledge, we don't have physical evidence from these events other than things that are happening to people while they're there? So why is he so interested in this now? That's a good question for everyone.
About that within the Galileo project, we just submitted a proposal to study this further. I'm not sure whether it will get the financial support that we requested, but we are definitely looking into that within the Galileo project, and I'm open-minded to that, obviously. And I'm fundamentally guided by evidence rather than prejudice. And unless the evidence points in a particular direction, I would not necessarily believe in it. But if there is something to it, that would be very exciting, of course.
Yeah, I would just love to hear when this is kind of further down the road, that at least one part of the project was to perhaps spend a little bit of time just maybe trying that to see, okay.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, that we are planning to do that. I have a new postdoc that will start in about a month. His name is Omar El-Dadi. He is a psychologist. He did a PhD in psychology, and he will lead the effort to study exactly what you're alluding to. So we will learn more about it, hopefully in the coming months.
Okay, so he's I'm glad that he's open to the possibility. I am. But with him being a hands-on kind of, I need to see it for my own eyes kind of guy, I'm not sure if he's going to be the right one to lead the efforts into the CE5 community. I feel that he's more research-based than which we all should be. Okay, research-based is where we should be, but we shouldn't deny what we can't see because of the fact that it could be mysterious. It could be something we can't see with our eyes. It could be in another light spectrum, another photo spectrum, another radio spectrum, any spectrum that we can't see, hear, feel. It could be there. So also, wanted to get into our last efforts here. We did an amazing job. Thank you for having us out there and showing us, what the community is actually capable of. Thank you very much. Now, once we get into this report here, this is the object that, metal that I'm talking about. We're going to be going back and forth because it was a little bland last time when we went just through the report only. Really, really bland. Didn't have a lot of people back here in the back chat. If you are anywhere tuning in, there's a link you can click on. You are more than welcome to join the back chat, join the conversation. Tell me what you think. Right now, we have UFO files that were destroyed, okay, after Clinton had asked to see them. That's interesting.
If you're, say, President Clinton, Bill Clinton, and you asked for the UFO files, which I understand he did.
Yes.
They don't tell you?
It was a different world back then, but no, they didn't tell him. And we also have to assume that there is a centralized repository of documents saving the history of these special access programs housing UFO activities. That's assuming those records haven't been buried, destroyed, or shredded. Remember what Dave Grush said on Judicial Watch podcast when he talked about this Clinton event in 1994. He said following Clinton's request to disclose, there was a shred and burn party of several documents. So unless you know exactly where those documents are beforehand and say, this document is here, this document exists here, this is its file name, don't destroy it or you're screwed, such documents can be shredded.
So such documents can be shredded. I wonder if that's actually what happened with the UFO files. That could be exactly what we're looking into here. Is hold on, I'm trying to actually get stuff set up in the background myself right now. So yeah, we have the metal right now that we're looking into. All right, metal object, protrusions coming from the metal, looks like polyfibrous material, almost maybe almost kind of living material, but I'm not sure. It was under the microscope, and that was at Falcon Space Labs. Then we have the material itself, material that he collected off of the ground. And one of the reports of what it actually could be. Now, getting into the report itself, on this piece that we sent in, let me get it here. There we go. All right, guys. Sorry about that. All right. Now, X-ray fluorescence was used on this. Using a X-ray fluorescent measurement was performed. On the painted side, it was found that at a high reflection index allows the coating to reflect infrared and visible light radiation from the sun. By reducing the absorption of solar light, it helped in lowering the internal temperature of whatever this structure was inside of this piece, as it was a whole piece when it came down, but now it is a broken piece in broken little pieces, 3 football fields long, over a farmer's field in the UK. Now, it helped lowering the temperature, whatever structure, depending on the environmental context. The coating is intended to deflect light and of a particular wavelength. Specifically, the substance was designed to reflect solar radiation across a broad spectrum with maximum efficiency in the ultraviolet and visible range spectrums regions, with significant refraction in the near infrared range. It is intended to reflect over 90% of solar radiation in the wavelength region from 425 nm to 1400 nm. It can be expected to maximize reflection in the 12,000 to 2,500 nm. Significant effort went into achieving this effect, particularly particle size has a major influence on reflection, particularly in rough surfaces where decreasing particle size generally increases the overall diffuse reflection and makes colors appear brighter. Smaller particles increase the number of scattering interfaces, leading to more reflection, while larger particles allow for deeper light penetration and greater absorption. For high solar reflection, nanoparticles with radii around 100 to 250 nm are ideal with the NM particles showing optimal performance in the near infrared region. The thermal emission coating can emit heat in the long wavelength infrared spectrum. So what we're talking about here is the surface was designed purposely to counter a problem. Okay, what problem? To be particularly efficient, efficient protection from temperature extremes and UV light. This begs the question into which environment one would typically encounter temperature swings together with highly extreme unfiltered UV radiation. The answer is obvious: outer space. So this is the location of the measurements taken. One was taken from the paint measurement, it looks like here, and another one was taken here on the external surfaces of one of these sharded pieces. So we have two different measurements here coming from here. This is the machine that was used. Locations: image taken from the painted side of the fragment showing where two of the measurements were conducted. The spectra for these measurements are named metal fragment 1 and 2. They're correspondent to locations 1 and 2. Now, when we are looking at the measurement on 1 and 2, this is for location 1. That will be the painted side. Location 1. These are the analysis that was brought up from that sample. Eagle Applications Lab, New Jersey. Okay, so now we know where it came from. All right, the painted surface, titanium and iron are the main components identified. Further reading indicated that the titanium and iron are commonly found in military paints and coatings, though usually in the form of compounds, pigments, or additives, rather than as raw metal flakes serving specific functional roles rather than just color. Titanium dioxide is a primary pigment used in military coatings, including CARC, chemical agent resistant coating. For white and lighter shades, it provides a high hiding power, opacency, and UV resistance. Iron oxides, iron compounds such as iron oxide pigments are frequently used to create earthly brown or red tones in camouflage and protective paints. Functional additives: some specialized high-performance coatings with primers may include metallic compounds to improve durability, corrosion resistance, and chemical resistance, which are critical for military equipment. While the paint itself contains these elements, the underlying substrate is often made of metals like steel, iron, alloy, or titanium, not thin aluminum. The paint serves to protect these materials from harsh environments, corrosion, and metal wear. That's interesting. Okay, again, for new viewers viewing in, we were talking about this piece that was sent to us. Thank you, James, for sending this to us. We're going over the metal report of this lab report. And it's getting really interesting. It's It's another one of those moments once make you want to go, The nature of the satellite space vehicle. Okay, here we go. Okay, here it is. Presence of function layered, intended to perform in terms of color alone, make the paint white and reflective. So why would titanium dioxide mean to paint? Thermal and reflective properties when exposed to rays like low orbit or outer space. Okay. The nature of satellite and space vehicle deployment involves harsh service conditions, primarily those of extreme temperatures, unshielded exposure to radiation. The temperature in space can range from altitude, spaceborne equipment experiencing these conditions for a prolonged period can be experiencing eventual fails, so the owner has an interest in prolonging its life. Continue here. Coating must be able to withstand pre-coatings. All right, we're going to skip through some of this. This is the location 2. All right, location 2 was measured here. Let's go to location 2 and see how different this is. That's location 2. Okay. It's location 1. Oh, wow. That's a pretty significant difference there. Location 2 was the internal. Yeah, beneath the paint. That's interesting. Whoa. Okay, that's the honeycomb patterning surface. It looks like it's scattering. It's scattering it. Honeycombed. Linked to the X-ray, not to the sample itself. A metal detector detecting strong local signal. This measurement looks to lower the typical signal. Low in radioactive impurities. Industrial exposure limits are strictly regulated. Aluminum is present, is one of the lower yielding X-rayable. There's also copper, chromium, as well as iron, titanium described. So it's an alloy of some description. On one of the surfaces anyway, the peak magnitude in the spectrum has no resemblance in the concentration present in the metal. This is okay. Here's a melting. I'll let everybody read these. I'm not going to read through this all right now, but this is the melting point that was measured for all the alloys that were in there. Here's a table of summary. DSC DTA testing is required for true melting behavior, and creep testing is required for real deformation limit. However, here's what they say about the melting of this material. X15 hypersonic. High performing hypersonic aluminum-based aircraft. Okay, so maybe what we're looking at is a new form of high hypersonic aircraft that they were developing back then with this material that would shield it at a high orbit in space from X-rays as well, and gamma rays and everything from space. Conclusion: the fragment is not an engine component, lower stage rocket component, or heat shield of any kind. It is not compatible with the design of a powered atmospheric vehicle in the categories of supersonic or above. Its pedestrian melting point, okay, airliner, cargo, unmanned satellite. be structurally unsafe, traveling faster within the atmosphere. Meaning this thing has to travel outside the atmosphere, probably. Crystallography. Metal, aluminum, liquefied and solidified in zero gravity or microgravity would be different from the same metal liquefied in. Okay, what are we looking at here? The more uniform microstructure in space, metallic crystals grow without being disrupted by strong currents, allowing for more uniform and generally coarser dendrite structure formed on Earth. Okay. In summary, zero-G microgravity cooling results in more homogeneous, cleaner, more ordinarily crystalline structure with fewer impurities and defects when compared to the often more chaotic. Okay, so this has less chaotic driven impurities that were not, it would have had more impurities on it. Okay. Now we're looking at the X-ray crystallography for the atomic arrangement was not attempted. Viewing the aggregated layer by electron microscope showed no indication that the alloy had been solidified in conditions of zero microgravity, therefore probably manufactured on Earth's surface or equivalent of gravitational context. So this is the scanning electron microscope report of the metal that was showing aluminum, carbon enriched, 2 upper layers. Okay, so in the metal itself, we have 2 separate upper layers. I could see that, I believe. The lower, you have a lower gray, and you have a darker black. Actually, there might be 4, but we'll get into that. One rich in carbon, AI flakes, and the other of a composite material. BS backscatter electron image, BS images based on relative atomic mass. The heavier component materials, the brighter the image, and vice versa. Oh, wow. Below are the graphs of each chemical analysis site with the percentage of the element present. Okay, so we're looking at different spectrums here. 1 all the way to 6, I believe it looks like. So this will be spectrum 1. That will be here, spectrum 1. Looks like the internal. That's a lot of aluminum. Wow. Huh. That's off the chart. Magnesium, iron. Huh. Okay. Spectrum 3, we're looking at down here at the bottom. There's a bottom coating. So spectrum 3. Oh, that's interesting. Spectrum 3 has more iron on the bottom part. This could have been an internal component to this, actually, if I'm thinking about it. The iron actually could be the internal of the component, and maybe the outside component, the darker components, are what was exposed to the gamma and other radiation present in the atmosphere. That's a lot of aluminum still, but it's less than the first. Magnesium, iron. Oh, wow. That's 4. Now there's nothing. What's 4? 4 looks to be at top of the spectrum here. That could be a cross section of that material. Okay, 4. Here's, whoa, 5 and 6. Whoa. Okay, so 5 and 6 were here and here, I believe, right next to each other. They're literally right next to each other. They took the sample, and they're way different. That's 5. That's 6. That's pretty incredible too. Okay. 1,000 times aluminum detail. Backscattering electron image of the surface aluminum detail. Black regions are contamination. White specks are probably copper. Manufactured aluminum metal typically contains a few percent copper to provide strength. Okay. This is the overview of the 75 times view of the topographic images, same area as image 1. This is the topographic image of the same image of image 1. Okay. 50 times. Topographic images paint surface with 2 different detectors. The second detector has recorded elements through and beneath the surface coating of this material. You're just tuning in now, everyone. What we're talking about here is this metal fragment that was sent in for analysis from a electron microscope lab. And it was given to us from a UK investigator. Thank you, James, for giving this to us and letting us send it to the lab. And this is the lab result that is from him, from his lab that he sent it to. And we're just going through these results, letting everyone see, you know, what is so mysterious about this sample. And right off the bat, it's just, it's odd. It's an odd find. It really is. Especially being over 3 football fields long. If this is a hypersonic plane, that's a long area. That's got to be a big plane. So I'm sorry, I got to disagree with that one. But all right, let's continue here. But the topographic. Also, if anyone would like to join the back chat, any of you would like to join the back chat and join the conversation, steer the conversation in a different way, you're more than welcome to join. The StreamYard link is in the YouTube chat box, and you can join anytime. You're more than welcome to come back, voice your opinion. I'd love to know what you guys think about this. The second detector has recorded elements through and beneath the surface coating. Okay. We'll continue here. Okay, back scatter image of paint. Chemical analysis of the paint and the aluminum gives similar results to the spectra from image 1 and 4. Okay. We got spectrum 8 and 7. So 7 and 8. Here's 7. Here's 8. That's pretty different too. One thing I'm going to ask for the actual person who gave the report, I know he loves to be technical, but for the audience, I would love, next time we will have the actual chemical analysis of all these symbols and the iron and magnesium and everything that's in it in aluminum. That way you guys can see which results are which on these. But it's really different. It's really different. I don't understand. Well, I know it's internal to external. We've got paint versus non-paint. So that's probably where it's coming from, the non-aluminum. Or I mean, yeah. So here's a piece. Here's the piece that was tested. Okay. Now you can see on the side here, the same polymorphic strands that are coming out of this piece of metal. Okay. What he did was to bring this sample in, he bent it. Okay. Bending the material like this back and forth until he was able to come off with a piece. Our material was cut in a lab squarely. That way we wouldn't get any of these. Let me get it here. Any of these pieces on the side here. It's like almost like bent up. So what we're looking at here in this are these stranules. Okay. Now, I think I have a picture that I will bring up here of one of those stranules. I do. I will bring up a picture here of one of those stranules that we did under Falcon Space Labs in the microscope. Now, that is one of these stranules zoomed in under ultraviolet light. Now, what Mark said was that it looked almost polymorphic, like a living but not living, plastic, kind of like a you're looking at advanced fiber optics inside of what could only be described as some kind of defeating material. It's heat, it's signal, it's something that this thing was made and manufactured to defeat. Now, why the stranules are in there or inside the actual metal itself, that is still to be determined. We're not 100% sure on that. So getting back to the report here, the microfibers, here we go. Yeah, I was right. There we go. A silicone. Okay. Silicone and oxygen, flexible, durable, heat resistant properties. By comparison, modern synthetic polymer, silicone resistant with organic additives, is used in aerospace as a binding agent because of its flexible mechanical properties. This could perform a similar function to the more efficient material used later. So there you have it right there. So it is a form of polymer or silicone base thing, stranules that are in one direction, mind you. Okay, when we were under the microscope looking at this, now you can see it here, how these stranules are underneath. If you're looking at this, look very, very low. Look in the middle of these. You can actually see the ripples, the waves of these stranules going all the way, going the same direction. Okay. They're all going the same direction. These are these polymorphous fibers, polymer, silicone resin fibers that they had found inside of this object here. And you can see one coming out here of this object. Now, once we zoom in, we're looking at it under a microscope. It's embedded within the material itself, going the same direction. It has to form a purpose, some kind of purpose to deflect radio waves, heat, some kind of thing, like I was saying before. So now getting back into it, we have very high aluminum, indicates a lightweight structure or thermal component. We have Cu, Mg, Mn present. Used structurally, not oxidized, indicates a classic high-strength aluminum alloy. Low Si shows this is not a cast automotive alloy. Adding Si improves wear resistance. Fe, trace, indicates a typical aerospace unintended impurity, intermetallic. Chlorine presence indicates environmental exposure, not intentional alloying. In aluminum casting, chlorine gas is used for degassing, which can lead to the formation of aluminum chloride and alkali chloride impurities, which can penetrate, the passive oxide layer on the surface of aluminum. Degassing is very important in space vehicle because outgassing can affect internal instruments. Therefore, a thorough chlorine degassing would be constant with preparing a space vehicle. There you go. Oxygen at 6.3%. This is a significant indicator. This of oxygen rolls out any normal aircraft structure. Aircraft skins, frames, and spars have trace oxygen only. They are melted, rolled, or forged and cannot tolerate 6% oxygen or oxide internally. Therefore, this fragment is not an aircraft wing, fuselage structure, landing gear, or pressure vessel material. So nothing going in the ocean. We have now ruled that out because I was thinking also that it could have been a pressure material for the ocean or extreme environment. This leads to the question, what does tolerate that much oxygen? Materials with this chemistry are typically thermally exposed, partially oxidized by design, not required to fully melt, and often additive for thermal protection, designed to block extreme heat by internally undergoing sacrificial decomposition. Could this sample be from a jet aircraft or fighter or airliner? No. This is not improbable because the internal oxide fraction is far too high. Structural unreliability and the chlorine contamination is unusual. These alloys can be used structurally, but are not intended to be oxidized. No rivet holes, composition fragments, or fuel oil residues were present in these samples. Could the sample be the result of aircraft structural failure? These alloys are used, yes, but the internal oxide content is far too high to ever be approved for flight safety. Chlorine is unusual, and debris fields from downed aircraft show tearing, fatigue, and paint layers. No aircraft was reported damage or loss. No aircraft occupants were found at the scene. Solid components such as seating or cargo were not reported to be present at the scene. In addition to this, aircraft breakups are loud. The witnessed radar track debris are usually recovered quickly and identified, and an unknown debris field strongly suggests a vehicle outside normal aviation oversight. Now, when we went into this this actual sample here, and we have the newspaper clipping from the actual place itself. So I know it's a little low for you guys to see it, so I will try to make it bigger here for you. While I'm doing that, anybody in the back that is watching right now, if anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask, feel free. I'm always open for questions, always open to explore the unknown. So here we have the newspaper article. From the crash site. Well, okay, right here it is. So zooming out, okay, we have strange debris. Strange debris rains down out of the sky. This is what we're talking about here, okay? This was hundreds of pieces of honeycombed metal foil were strewn over an area the size of 3 football patches. We have been in contact actually with him as well, and it is a very, very strange story. He has also had different individuals come up to him and ask him for that sample. Now, I will say that this is probably one of the strangest things of the story would be men in pink suits came up to his house and demanded that they have his medal. And he didn't give it to him, obviously. But I just thought, men in black, and now you have men in pink. I mean, is this, maybe it's the new age order of things, I guess. Now, getting back into this, we were getting into this here. Could this be a sample from a rocket? Now, it's worth considering as a possibility, but only for specific parts. The comparison is not suitable for cryogenic tanks, thrust chambers, or turbo pumps due to the low melting point and potential porosity. It could be compatible now with a solid rocket motor hardware, not exhaust adjacent, but exposed to hot oxidizing flow. These materials may develop embedded. I'm not sure the actual names of these, but oxygen and aluminum too, I think. But would also show chlorine from ammonium propellant following exhaust exposure option, solid rocket motor nozzle components. Okay. Chlorine into the surrounding metals will also generate massive quantities of aluminum oxide far beyond the portion found on the sample. Okay, so this we're ruling out as well too. Sample from a missile. Looking at it, none on this sample. We rule out a missile. Could this be from any kind of propulsion debris? No. No combustion charring. Okay, there's none of that on this. That rules out proximity nozzles, askers, thrust structures, or reconnected exhaust components. Could this be a natural structure, such as meteorite? No. The chance of it being a natural object is essentially zero. It is a clearly manufactured material in 4 layers. So we can rule that out, guys. Could the sample be from a space launch vehicle? An upper stage of a solid fuel propulsion unit could be possible because it would be subjugated to less stress and heat than the other sections of the design. Lower stages will require more heat tolerance than the sample material can provide, i.e. strap-on boosters. Other sections to consider would be the payload adapter, separation structure, or the structural hardware of a satellite. Now, we had this same thing talking about it in the first podcast we did on this, is that I believe that this was some kind of stealth satellite launch from the UK or another component in the UK to launch a stealth satellite capable of almost like a Sputnik, like Russia. Hey, how's it going, John? Doing good here. We're just talking about this piece of unusual material that spread across 3 football fields in a farmer's field that we are sent to a lab to get analyzed. We're still waiting for our piece to be analyzed, but we are going over the actual lab results from the first analyzed material that was sent to the lab. Our material is being sent to a lab in Utah. Thank you, Tim, for doing that for us. Now, going over it, could this sample be of extraterrestrial origin? Again, there are no indicators that this is the case, and several indicators as man-made. The crystallography test found it was not manufactured in outer space. So We can rule out zero-G manufacturing. It does not violate the 1/137th rule for truly exotic, impossible material. Also, it was not beyond human ability to make this in the period of 1978 to 1983. And we have a research paper in 1973 which discusses working toward making it a thermal control service. So, after eliminations, the next probability to consider is an aerospace orbital structure. No, I do not think aliens are all monsters. I actually think that, if you're looking at a different alien species, you could be looking right at yourself. I mean, look right here on the planet. The whole planet is a melting pot of different races, different species, different organisms, and we're all living together. Some not in harmony, but most. And we all strive to get there someday, especially us. Now, let's get back to this metal here, because no, don't think all aliens are monsters. That's definitely not my supporting narration on that is not that we are that they are monsters. I believe they're just like us. Now, the debris across 4 farm fields is not compatible with explosions, which leave out a rocket or staging. Okay. So we can leave that out of our art of explanation. In support of this explanation, breaking up at high altitude produces light aluminum debris scattered across a fall zone. In the case of light aluminum alloy with little or no burn, if breakup occurs above peak heating, 50 to 47 miles, or the altitude, meaning the breakup was caused by premature structural failure, internal energy release, or a collision rather than the maximum aerodynamic heating loads of the full vehicle's reentry. So they were trying to come back in with this material probably, and it possibly did not withstand the coming in of this material. Now, looking at it now, the theory is still a good fit for material for various reasons. Space hardware is typically aluminum rich, high strength to launch weight ratio. An uncrewed vehicle is not a pressure vessel. It experiences launch plume exposure without thermal exposure. Low melting point is acceptable. It can have some chemical porosity. Aluminum sheeting survives initial heating, then tears away and breaks up during uncontrolled reentry, losing momentum quickly in the thicker atmosphere, and does not shatter on impact with the ground. Its temperature would be warm upon landing, but without ever reaching a deformation point. Prime candidates include satellite payload, adapter rings, internal stage panels, and a bus structural plates. These components are often aluminum, Cu, magnesium, alloys, lightly stressed thermally, oxidized over time, fragment cleanly, and form other recoveries, fall as cold debris. The highest probability appeared to be orbital or suborbital space debris. 2 tests which look for the fingerprints of spaceflight could resolve this. Now, when we're looking into this as well, too, we have exposure occurs due of an exposure surface in outer space to high energy particles collisions. For example, a sugar cube traveling at 1,700 miles an hour and striking an object, releasing the equivalent explosive energy as a hand grenade at much a smaller scale. Microscopic speck striking a metal surface leaves a pit, resulting in micrometeorite impact investigation, no micrometeorite impact pitting craters were found. We can rule this out as well. Let's continue on here. Why no charring initially strengthens to, okay. Kind of space degree fits best. Okay, given the alloys, chemistry, and oxidation state, candidates are old Soviet and old Western aluminum alloys. These could potentially be upper stage, internal, secondary structure, payload adapters, satellite bus panels, development rings, or frames. These pieces are hardware composition, have older alloy space specs, less refined oxygen control, and are the products of machining rather than modern composites. They all survive re-entry in fragments and rarely traceable to specific mission and generally land as unknown debris. Additionally, chlorine can come from historical solid booster plume exposure or ground processing decades later. It remains trapped in oxygen layers, long form, which points to launch heritage, not atmospheric origin. Okay, to recap, what it cannot be: an automotive alloy, SI too low; helicopter, no paper, resin, honeycomb, quality of debris is too high and widespread. Helicopter, 3 football fields long. That's a big helicopter. An RAF Buccaneer, which some have suspected it could have been. None damaged. Aluminum airframe, not steel. No lanthanum. No honeycomb sections known to the former flight crew or mechanics of this aircraft. A NATO winged aircraft. No diagnostic trace on the surface, no match for standardized military paint tones. RxF showed the green coloring layer is probably not intended as a paint. A civilian winged aircraft, no mandatory accident report. So there's no accident report. A regular aircraft alloy. Internal oxygen is too high. Supersonic aircraft or prototype fighter. Oxygen too high, melting point too high, too low. So it's not a supersonic plane like I was actually thinking it might have been. Nuclear powered satellite, no gamma activity. So actually a satellite just gets ruled out some way. Dang. Solid manufactured in outer space, solidified manufactured in outer space, shows typical 1G crystalline metal formation pattern, meaning not formed in outer space. The external surface of the satellite, which had long, serviced its life and came down. No meteoritic impact pitting, meaning that it was not in outer space and did not have micrometeoritic impacting into the actual material. There was none found. A Russian satellite of the period 1957-1983, too thin and delicate, wrong honeycomb, cell dimensions. Now, they did a cell dimension of these honeycombing patterns that were found, and they're saying that it is the wrong dimensions for this to be a Russian satellite. No residual radiation. A manned aircraft. The structural melting point is too low, so it was designed to deform and break apart soon after entering an atmosphere. There is no bismuth in the alloy to block radiation and protect a living passenger. So, could not have been a living person in this object that we're talking about here that was crashed. Features: it does not have high aluminum content, typical of aircraft. Aerospace structure, long term. Now, let's just go down this very quickly here. legacy spacecraft, unique to NASA, space technology, aluminum foam bonding, not aerogel, metallic, 1960s and 1970s space technology. Okay. Vehicle not intended for use within planetary atmosphere. Expendable upon re-entry. Untrackable flight. Uncontrolled re-entries are often untracked. Okay. Larger piece could show Russian France versus Empiric dimensions. A U.S. swatch to switch to metric much later for yeah, switch. Not calculable in this case. Okay. Deforms under heat. Problem in this case because the metal plastic changes to some extent with the material heated. Deform by the force applied. There's no way of measuring what the temperature was, even using computer modeling as the original size and shape of the structure. Yeah, we don't know exactly what shape structure this was because we're getting the actual busted up material that blew up or on the ground of this. Now, the honeycomb dimensions as a discriminator. Okay, so we're looking here. Satellite structural panels is a green. All the rest are not. Upper stage. The honeycomb internal surface dimensions appear decisive. Okay. Either came from satellite bus sandwich panel, very high likelihood, a satellite payload adapter ring or deck, a satellite upper stage, interstage, secondary panel, deployable structure. Why space honeycomb usually looks deep in the very few images found online. Most publicly available images shown of one of these modern spacecraft panels with thicker cores. Okay, so we have thicker honeycombing. Not present in the ultra thin ones of the panels of this. Okay, so what are we looking at here? Here's another picture. That's one of the pictures that I actually showed you from the screen here that we have. So looking on this, we have aluminum foam as a key discriminator. Some kind of, yeah, I can see it now. There's, oh, that's okay, Popstar. You're fine. We're just going over this material. It's been a long and boring report, but very, very informative. There's like 4 different layers to this material, Popstar, that is really interesting. And the polyformous material that is inside of this is just what we were talking about here, is that these are actually polymorphic layers with organic material embedded into it. It was kind of like a what did I say? Fiber optics almost. So getting in this aluminum key. Okay, U.S. satellites and U.S. optical reconnaissance panels. See, reconnaissance panels. That's what I was talking about. This could be a reconnaissance satellite. Okay. U.S. did not build this. Confident. Okay, confidence statement. Satellite versus all other origins, 99%. LEO versus GEO satellite class, 100%. Observation reconnaissance class, very high. Early late 1960s to very early 1980s. Material system consistency textbook match US rather than Soviet, very high. 95%. Cross-checking against other statements. US satellite panels. US long life LEO practice. US mass optimized structures. Aging LEO satellite. High altitude breakup. So, we were right. We are looking at a satellite that is a reconnaissance satellite. And most likely, here we go. Then here is your, like I said, Chris James. Thank you again for giving us this report and letting us go through this. I can't wait to actually compare this report to the report we get back from Tim and the lab that he will be sending it to in Utah. Can't wait, Tim. Thank you so much for helping us out. Now, getting to the end here. This was almost certainly human-made space hardware commissioned and launched into low Earth orbit by NASA, not tied to any launch recent to the debris or descending, that re-entered unpredictably fragmented high and fell cold. This fragment of the debris material was inspected in a private capacity by, right there, you have it, University of Southampton, at the request of Chris James. This is the report date that came back on April 28, 2026. We have our report that will be coming back, and that will be probably August or September. We will get our report back, and we will go through it just like is going on here. And we will give you what we come up with this report, which, like I said, very interesting metal piece, very interesting piece of metal that was given to us. Our piece, we were able to do a lot more analysis on, I believe, because of the simple, like, the piece itself was so pure of a piece, I believe, that it was cut and handled with a very, very good care. So now we have that piece going through here. I'll go through all these images real quick with you guys. Polymorphous materials. The box. Under the microscope. And the newspaper article. Now, the last thing that was sent to us, which also is very, very important for any case to go forward, the certificate of origin. This sample of metallic debris that I showed you that we have on the screen here, this sample was, here it is, this sample, metallic debris recovered from the crash site of the unidentified flying object during the 1983 investigation recovery expedition at the North Wales. This sample is representative of other such material earlier removed by the RAF and Ministry of Defense personnel. Too bad Nick Pope isn't around. We could ask him. He's a great friend of the show. The late great Nick Pope was a great friend of the show. Probably still is up there. Thank you, Nick, for supporting us. And I mean, we have this piece of material here. We have the certificate of origin. Here at the Galactic Family, we do everything, trying to get to the bottom of everything. And with this certificate of origin, that's why I felt it was good enough to take into a lab and get it studied. I don't take any material just to a lab. Now, when we got this, it was something special. Thank you, Chris James, again, for the support of the show, helping us out with this piece. Now, I want to get into a couple statements that have been going around here. Now, here at the Galactic Family Podcast, I just want to have everybody listen to me very carefully. I and this podcast support anyone, military, former, or still in. We support you. If you have information to come forward with, please, we are here for you. We will not give your name. We will not give your address. We will tell your story. And that is all we do here. Now, I also want to get into some statements that were made about some people that say that Lou Elizondo is not the right person for the job. I want to tell you guys something. Lou Elizondo is a patriot. We here at the Galactic Family Podcast, I support Lou Elizondo and his efforts on everything he does for disclosure and for us. He has come out many times in the past and said about crash debris, about alien bodies, and other things that he has found. And I just want to say, Lou, you've got our support here at the Galactic Family Podcast. We don't linger. We don't, pass false stories along. And this is what I want to bring up, is that there's a lot of false stories going on in the background about Lou Elizondo. Like I said, Lou Elizondo is a patriot, just like myself. We served our country honorably and admirably. I'm retired from the active army myself. And I got the Bronze Star in combat in Operation Iraqi Freedom. And Lou, if you're out there listening, keep up the fight, my brother. Keep up the fight. And this is coming from him. Let's get into it.
Howdy, folks. Lou here. As you can tell, I'm in my pickup truck, and I'm hauling, and what you can't see is a substantially long trailer, almost 50-foot flatbed. For those of you who might not know, I have made a permanent move to the Washington, D.C. area, and I'm still in the process of collecting my things and my items, but I am there as disclosure is a full-time commitment for myself. I'd like to discuss with you a few things for these short moments. Forgive me, I am at a rest stop right now, so I'm not driving, but I do have to get back on the road. I would like to talk about the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement, that everybody thinks that the president has just somehow magically waived, and now we don't have an NDA anymore. It is true that the president signed a presidential directive that has not been yet made public, so we don't know exactly what's in there, and I applaud that effort. I think it's fantastic. It's a great move forward. The problem is it doesn't alleviate us from our NDAs. What it does, it alleviates us from our NDAs from discussing this conversation about UAP with none other than who? Arrow, which, as you know, I already did. Spoke several times with Arrow. And unfortunately, at the time, Sean Kirkpatrick, the former director, didn't do a whole lot of good with that. Secondly, we can also talk to Pursue, which I may already be talking to elements of Pursue. But unfortunately, it has not alleviated my ability to speak to the general public. And this is why it's important that the U.S. government really push hard to continue to pass legislation so folks like myself, the whistleblowers, can come forward and have that conversation, not just internally within the U.S. government, but with you specifically. And so it's important for several reasons, because really there's a lot of confusion right now that, oh, Lou, you don't have an NDA anymore. You can say whatever you want. That's not true. I am still held by my secrecy oath, and until the government gives me the ability to speak openly about it, I can only go through two channels, either Arrow, which I wasn't overly impressed with the first time, and neither were my colleagues, and I don't think Congress was either, or Pursue. And like I said, I might already be talking to some individuals there, either directly or indirectly. The second issue was brought to my attention that there was a interview done very recently on Ross Coulthart's Reality Check show under the News Nation moniker. And they had a guest on there that spoke really some incredible, outlandish claims that are 180 degrees false and they're just not factual. And so what I want to do is address that real quick. And why is that? Because in this process of disclosure, there are people out there that are trying to hijack and derail this conversation by feeding you false information. People who claim to be on the inside, who know information, they don't. And they're saying things, frankly, I can only suspect for clicks and likes. So please be careful of that. First and foremost, one of the allegations was that ATIP was a limited hangout. Well, let's not forget that in 2009, Senator Harry Reid himself, who was the chairperson for the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence for the U.S. Senate, that was his program. That was his. They paid for it with U.S. taxpayer money, and he even sent a letter in 2009, a memo, official memo, to the Deputy Secretary of Defense, Lynn, at the time. So if this was a limited hangout that was being paid by U.S. government taxpayer money, then by default you're saying that the sissy itself is a limited hangout, and by extension the U.S. Congress and even the U.S. government. So that simply doesn't make sense. It's factually not correct. It's not true. Not sure where this individual's getting their information, but they're not getting it from people who actually know. Another allegation that was made during this interview was that somehow General Clapper and I had colluded with one another to try to go ahead and create this soft disclosure, and that we were going to go ahead and manage it and control it. That is 1,000% not accurate. In fact, we never had such a conversation, and Jim Clapper and I never meant to have that conversation. So again, it's factually not correct. And the problem is that you have an individual here who is sensationalizing stuff and making stuff up, quite frankly, who has ulterior motives. That's deceiving you. And furthermore, they're getting attention on a national news network.
Now, I just want to bring this up. Okay, now, Lou's right. Okay, these people are getting national attention for spreading bullshit. Okay? If you have something, say something. I'm not saying not to. Okay? If somebody has a piece of paper right now that says that Lou Elizondo was lying, I'd love to see it. I'm just saying, like, all these people want to come out and say, Lou this, Lou that, Lou this. Please show me the proof. Please. Show me what you guys are talking about. Because I don't see it. I don't see it. And maybe I'm just going on a rant here, guys, but I don't see it.
Network that, by the way, I respect, and that's always been a friend of disclosure, and now manipulating them and providing false information to their audience to the point where they're like a tabloid. And I think this is problematic. If you want to know why I've always said I want to destroy ufology and replace it with something better, this is why. Because of bad actors like this, people who come out, they're just interested in clicks and likes, they're only interested in manufactured and false drama, and they're going about doing things that are actually putting disclosure further back than where we are. And this is a problem. I'll share something else with you too, another anecdote about to show you the character of this individual. Recently, as a month ago, I attended a function in Washington, D.C. This individual happened to be there. I didn't know who he was, but I saw a circle of people surrounding him, and they were berating him. I worried for his safety to some degree, and maybe figured he was getting picked on, and walked over and interjected. And as I pulled him away, I was told, hey, that's the guy that's been talking crap about everybody and been making things up. So I pulled him aside and I said, hey, look, these people are obviously pretty upset with you. If you have any questions in the future, here's my personal cell phone number. Now, this went against my better judgment, but I did it anyways. As you all know, I'm very open and transparent. So I said, look, if you ever have any questions, please give me a call.
And that's the other thing, okay? He gave him his personal cell phone number, okay? Call him. If he really had Lou's personal cell phone number, why didn't he make a call? I would have. First thing I would have done, I've been on the phone with him. Hey, what's going on? But again, it didn't happen. He didn't make that phone call. He just assumes things and puts it out there.
And obviously he looked at me, he had And to me, it looked like tears in his eyes. And he looked at me and said, "Oh, okay, sir, yes, I promise I'll do that. I'll make sure that I call you if I have any questions in the future, and I won't do that." And just start spewing off of garbage. And I look at him and said, "Good, I appreciate that. We can be friends. I'm happy to, whether you agree with me or not, I'm happy to give you information. Just reach out to me and I can clarify stuff." Well, guess what? A month later, he goes on a network television series and starts spewing off more crap that was completely wrong. He never called me once, right? So what kind of due diligence, investigative type skill set does it require just to go out and make up stuff about people, right? And this is why we're having a problem. If you want to know what's wrong with the UFO community, you have people out there, and by the way, yes, I'm addressing you who lied, to look in the mirror. You're the reason why we're having this problem with disclosure. You're the reason why people don't take this topic seriously, and frankly, you should be ashamed of yourself. I know I'm ashamed for what you did. You should be embarrassed. And the fact that you're talking to people and claiming you have access to stuff you don't, I don't ever remember you in any of the meetings that I was at the.
Now let's get into that also, okay? He don't remember him in any meetings in the Pentagon because he was there, okay? And let's get into that NDA, okay? Non-disclosure agreement, okay? What the president said was, they can now talk to Pursue, or they can now talk to Arrow. Pursue is where most likely Lou Elizondo is going to be talking to. Don't know or not if he is, but most likely. People have dealt with Arrow before, didn't like the results. If they made another board, I would be wanting to try out that board rather than go to Arrow, where I know everything's going to get fucked up. Excuse my language. But that's what happens in Arrow. Now, not saying all of Arrow is bad, not saying the people, we've had certain individuals on the show here. Tim Phillips, former acting Arrow director. Great guy, wonderful guy. Awesome. Wish he would come back on the show. Hopefully he will. There is some good actors out there like him. There's some good actors out there like Lou that are trying to push this topic and getting pushed back from everybody else. We're not pushing back here. And I know why he's so mad. Now, these NDAs, okay? President Trump comes out and says, I'm going to absolve everyone of their NDAs, right? That does not mean that a United States military personnel who swore to uphold the laws and everything of this country is going to give up anything. Okay, he has an NDA. He is giving specific instructions from that NDA saying, you can't say anything about this, this, or this. Specifically. Okay. Now, if he wanted to write a book, okay, like he did, he would go through pre-publication and review office. Okay. I myself have had an NDA that I've signed when I was in the military. When I was in Iraq, 2007, I was part of a program down there. Can't tell you what it was about. I had to sign an NDA. The only thing I can tell you is it was defense oriented, not offensive based. I was working in defensive capabilities to save soldiers' lives down in Iraq. That's all I could say. However, I went to the pre-publication and review office. I asked them myself if certain things I was allowed to discuss, and I was not allowed. So I cannot discuss them. That's the same thing he's running into. Okay. If you are told you cannot discuss this is your NDA, these are the guidelines, you can't discuss anything. You say one word and you could be held liable for distributing national security secrets. And no, I love my country. Just like Lou loves his country. Okay, we're not going to do that. That doesn't happen ever. Okay, you go through the right channels. You have to go through the right channels if you're going to do something like that. Now, let's continue on with what he said. Now, that's going on with the NDAs. There is avenues of, getting this information out there, however, though. Now, what President Trump did was he did open the door now for these people to come forward themselves to pursue an arrow. Now, they're not being forced into coming yet. It's just an open door now. Hey, you can now talk to Pursue. Let's get things rolling. Or Arrow, and let's get things rolling on this this investigation that we're doing. Let's continue with Lou here and see what he has to say.
Pentagon or at ATIP, quite frankly. In fact, if you want inside information, going to talk to somebody and saying you have an inside source, as far as I'm concerned, that's called gossip. That's not information. And secondly, I think it's also important to say that as you continue to disparage and provide false information, remember there's real consequences. There are real consequences for your actions and what you are doing. And I would not want to be you right now, because when this all comes out that you're just BS.
Now, consequences for your actions. Does anybody out there think that him saying, well, you guys know there will be consequences for your actions, that's not a threat? So if anybody thinks that that's a threat, because I've heard people say that before, sorry. Some of the stuff you put out is great, but some of the stuff you put out is not. And I'm a little disappointed by this one, Panda. I am. We can do better in the UFO community. I know everybody has, and everybody might jump on me for this. I don't care. If you have the treasure trove of documents, and you have the linkage between Lou Elizondo and these secret programs and all this other stuff, why not put it out? Why are you just talking about it? Stop talking. If I have something, I put it out. We have the research going on with the Metallurgy. When it comes back, it gets put out. I don't BS anyone on the show. I don't do this for clicks and likes. I do this for the research. I do this for the investigations. I do this to get the information out to the public. It's not about the clicks and the likes. It's not about who likes me. It's about what is factual information that I can get out to the UFO community. That's what this is all about. Clicks and likes means nothing to me. I would love for you to like the show. I'd love for you to be here. I'd love for you to follow along and be a subscriber, because we're going to be showing you the real shit. We're not going to be sugarcoating it. It's what we see is going to be coming out. Let's continue.
I think there's going to be a price to pay. So anyways, folks, I hope you're well.
And he just said there's going to be a price to pay, meaning, yeah, that's not a threat either. There will be a price to pay. You're going to try to throw somebody's career under the bus, or anything that they're doing under the bus, that they're doing for their family, or anything that they're trying to put out there and trying to help the UFO community. And you think Lou Elizondo, or anyone for that matter, would sit idly by and let you do it? He didn't threaten you. What he did was give you a chance to back the hell off. That's what he did.
didn't want to address this. I hate having to do this because all it does is goad people and more people to want to have conversations. I'm in the middle of a drive across country. Last thing I need to do is, deal with this headache. But I think it's important enough to address it and address it head on and let you know the truth. I've always been committed to the truth. Hopefully most of you know that by practice. And be wary, be very careful of people who are trying to paint a false narrative and then try to get attention for it. Very, very disingenuous, very disingenuous. So here I am, folks, once again. And Ross, that goes for you, man. I love you, buddy, but you have my phone number. You can call me anytime, you know that. So if you have any questions of who I am or what I'm doing, that's never stopped you before from calling me. Just give me a shout. We have to be careful with media here, especially News Nation, who's a friend to disclosure. They've got a reputation. A lot of people listen to them. So we've really got to do our due diligence in making sure that the information that is being provided is accurate. And I do appreciate what you're doing, Ross. But please, for the love of God, be more careful with who you decide to have on your program.
Listen, the major thing that people need to do, and this is what I've seen as well too, is vet sources. Okay. There's been a couple times when we ourselves here at the Galactic Family Podcast have had to vet their sources, vet where this information is coming from. Who is the person talking to you about this? What's their background? Where do they come from? Who are they involved with? What kind of situation is their life in? Are they in a stable situation? Are they good? Are they, you have to find out everything you can about this person telling you this information. That way it'll give you the most information you can get. Okay. More telling than anything is body language. Body language is the most telling thing that anyone can ever do. That's what you look for also when interviewing.
Left the Department of Defense, ironically enough, to finish the very mission they gave me in the first place. I didn't ask for it. I'm not a UFO guy. I'm not a ufologist. I never have been. I never will be. I'm a counterterrorism and counterespionage guy. I do counterintelligence, counterinsurgencies. That's what I do. And it just so happens that in 2008, I was asked to apply those same skill sets into the UFO community.
So you see here that he was asked to apply.
Have you been allowed to see any?
Now he's been asked, and he's also seen. He's also held in his hands UFO material. And like I said, it is something that we all should be doing. Okay, we all need to start looking for the more truth in the matter. Okay, because of what is going out there with UAP GERB and all this other stuff going out there with News Nation, UAP GERB, and this and that, and vetted. And look, stop. Take a step back. Where is your sources coming from? Can your sources be trusted? Can you properly vet your sources? Obviously not. Because part of vetting your sources are going back to the original person that the story is about to find out their take on the story. So why didn't Ross or UAP GERB or any of them contact Lou Elizondo for his statement? No one has. Well, Lou, you're welcome to come on here and make your comment anytime. We support you and everything you're doing for disclosure. And we know, and I know personally, being from the Army, what kind of constraints that you are under with an NDA. And you do what you can do for disclosure. And I'm happy that you're doing something. I'm happy you're pushing it. Thank you. Now, I also was told that, different. Well, let's play this here. There was a couple of videos going around. of different things that I was going to show here. I'm not sure if it's real or not, just on X. You know how X is. But yeah, this is very, very telling, disturbing. I'm not sure, but it's probably just a mannequin. So I won't show that one no more. I don't like that one. But yes, we do have that one. I don't know what it is, but this is the smoking gun UFO footage. Let's see, recorded by DoD contractor Rick above San Diego Labs. I'm skipping through some of it. About a 15-minute video. Looks to be moving slowly over the hills. Slowly over the hills. All right, so this also was sent to this is a file that was sent to MUFON. I just wanted to show it here. This is I've been trying to get this through some other people to have them verify this. This is sent to MUFON for New York City, and I just want to play this on the screen here. It's pretty interesting. Supposedly of a UFO landing. This was a UFO landing. Hold on, let me find out the exact thing here. There it is. UFO landing, New Hartford, New York. New Hartford, New York. Now that was supposedly of a UFO landed in New Hartford, New York. Not sure about this one. Could be a structure though on the ground. Could also be deer blind. But it does have that structure on top, dome. But it, like I said, it could be a deer blind. Things that look like they are UFOs on the ground may not actually be a UFO. I'm not saying everything is a UFO. I would never say that because I wasn't there. So continuing on, we can't claim too much from that video there then. So we will do the next video here.
Fucking UFO, bro.
This is supposedly
fucking UFO.
This is supposedly of a tractor trailer that is transporting a metallic circular object into Area 51. And this guy is at the crossroads here. You can see the military convoy actually behind them, police vehicles. This guy's pulled off to the side here. This truck comes up. It's carrying a cylindrical object. It looks to be totally cylindrical, but it could be a wing.
UFO.
Yeah, it could be a wing off of an aircraft. Kind of an aircraft, but could be. All right, so we don't always say everything's a UFO, but a former Marine pilot says
So
otherwise.
We're going Minneapolis, St. Paul, roughly due north, but it's a little bit, I think, to the west, or at least the first point to get on the airway. And I think our initial climb clearance was like 4,000 or 5,000. Then we get switched to the next controller, and we're cleared up to like 17,000. And I'm hand flying, A, because I like it, and B, just, I don't know, it feels like it makes me a better pilot in the landing. So.
Oh, and hand flying means that you are not flying with autopilot. You are hand flying the aircraft, meaning he could have put it on autopilot to climb, but he felt like hand flying. It makes him a better pilot. That's what he says.
I hand fly usually past 10,000 through the speed up when you pass 10,000. So I'm hand flying. We get past 10. We're now heading roughly northwest. I think it was like a 330 heading. But
Nope, it's not going to show the whole video. All right. Hold on. I can get it up here. 1 second.
So we're going Minneapolis, St. Paul, roughly due north, but it's a little.
Well, 1 second here. Sorry about that, guys. Which one is it? This one.
Bit, I think, to the west, or at least the first point to get on there. And I think our initial climb clearance was like 4,000 or 5,000. We switched to the next controller and cleared it to like 17,000. And I'm hand flying, A, because I like it, and B, just, I don't know, it feels like it makes me a better pilot in the landing. So I hand fly usually past 10,000 through the speed up. On the back step. So I'm hand flying. We get past 10. We're now heading roughly northwest. I think it was like a 330 heading. But airplane's light, not many passengers in the back, not a huge fuel loadout. So the climb rate is insane, like, I don't know, close to 5,000 feet a minute. We ding the bell at 10,000, flight attendants are up. He's cleared them to get up because there's not expectation of bumps or anything. And as soon as I get to the acceleration speed, so I think it was like roughly 300 knots, I could that one. It's probably 12,000, 15,000 feet. And we're clear to 17. Then we get switched to the next controller, which is the guy that's going to clear you up into the higher space. And, you know, you get in this job, you get these, like, you just know what's going to happen next because it's, it's the same thing. It's all very benign for a reason. So we can keep everybody safe. Yeah. And so he's talking on the radio. I've just clicked on the autopilot Then he gets the switch to the high controller. He checks in with the high controller, and the high controller says, traffic, 11 o'clock. I can't remember what he said after that. 3 miles, something like that. Level off 15,000. When he gets that out of his mouth, we're at 14.7. Autopilot's on.
Yeah.
And we're climbing at 4,000.
Only so much you can do.
So I click the autopilot off, and I'm going to start pushing over to at least do my best to make this level off. And the captain says, don't float them. They're up in the back. So I'm like, okay. So I'm just
to be clear, don't actually induce a zero.
Yeah, what they're talking about here is not introducing a 0G. Pretty much there's people in the back. The plane is climbing, and they're still in the back, but it's at a steady climb. And they're up. So if he immediately zeroes this out or levels this off, those people are going to fly to the ceiling. Don't cause a 0G. All right, where are we at
G environment in the back of the Force airline. Yeah, they were negative and started floating up, literally.
Because that's how we hurt flight attendants. So anyway, so I kind of don't push. I do a little like a 0.9 push over or something. But I'm hand flying now. So I'm in the instruments, focused on that, just trying to make this level off. And he's out looking. And out of the corner of my eye, I see him going. He's one of these guys that, like, I think he had his phone on a holster. So I see him going for his phone, and I hear him say something, like, what the fuck? Like, he under his breath, but I hear him on the ICS. And the radio, the HC controller is saying, I don't know who he is. If you get a sight of him, he's been popping on and off my scope all day. He's not squawking. Can you give me if you see it, please give me a PID or whatever. So when I see him go for the phone and say that under his breath, I've at this point got it like under control for the most part. The rate of climb is definitely much lower now. I'm going through 15, but I'm like 15,150 or something like that. And starting to come back down. It's me feeling more comfortable. And I come out to look at what he's looking at, that he's trying to get a photo with his camera. And at first, I'm like, is that a Mylar balloon? And then I'm like, what the, just like, what the hell is that? I don't know what it is. But at first scan, it's probably like 1.5 miles out. And based on the rate of closure, just from my eyeballs, because we don't have like a radar lock on this or anything, it appears to be still, like it's not moving. And it's just hovering in between those two layers of clouds. And it has this, like, you ever play with like, well, you're not supposed to anymore, but you know, the liquid metal mercury.
Yeah.
It looks like that. It's like kind of an iridescent, shimmering metallic surface. No wings, no doors, no thrust, nothing. Just hovering in between two cloud layers and reflecting the clouds on the top and on the bottom. Almost like if the radar guy hadn't told us to look there, I don't think we would have seen it.
Yeah.
And now we're doing probably ground speed 4 something. Indicator airspeed, it's 3 something. And the closure rate makes sense to that it would be still. Because it's not like merging with another fighter. It's not like that.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's not like going parallel to me or perpendicular to me. He's just there.
And so maybe call it plus or minus 50 knots from 0, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Who knows? But also I noticed as it gets closer, it feels like we're going to hit it. Like we're on constant bearing constant deviation range, and it's getting larger and larger. And it looks like the size of a 737. Like, it's big. It's not small. It's not a balloon.
If you were to hold your hand out, how big of an
So,
object
like,
would
at
you need?
first time I see it,
Yeah.
and it's oriented, and I mean, I guess Tic Tac is the best way to describe it. It's an oblong tube, and it's like oriented on our axis, and it's like here, and it looks probably like the size of my fist.
Oh,
and
really?
it's
So you're
coming-
saying, okay.
And
that's pretty big.
It's big.
Yeah.
And so the captain says, I don't know, is that a weather balloon? And I'm like, no, dude, I've seen weather balloons before. They look, they have this big, long thing underneath them. And he's like, I don't know what that is. And, but now I'm like, are we going to hit this thing? So I start introducing a little bit of aileron roll to like get us away from it. Cause I'm like, I don't want to hit this thing. I don't know what it is. And it's rapidly approaching, or we're approaching it. And then right as he's about to take the photo, because this happens you get this time compression thing going. I've had it a few times, like whether bullets are flying or in a stressful situation where time seems to stand still. So I'm sure the whole thing only lasted 4 seconds, maybe less, but it felt like a lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I knew, like I can remember it so clearly. I can remember seeing his arm holding the camera and him, just everything in slow motion. So I start to roll to get away from it. And then right as it comes to probably like a 500-foot pass,
wow.
It looked like a merge with another Hornet. Right as it's approaching my wing line, it's just, and it's not disappearing. It's definitely going on the perpendicular to our wing line because I see it getting smaller, but it is like the fast. I've never seen anything move that fast, from dead still to just it's gone, and then it's over. And I'm like, "Did you get the photo?" And he's like, "No." I think he did hit the shutter, and he went through all the but there was nothing there. You can't see anything.
Do you think it was avoiding your aircraft?
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
And that's why I think back, I'm like, because I've told this story a bunch of times, and pilot buddies have said, do you think you would have hit it? And I think of it like tanker guys thinking we're going to hit them. It's some.
Well, what do you guys think? I think he would have. I don't think he would have hit it, but man, that is a scary situation to be in when you're at that altitude. Okay. All right. Now we are going to wrap up today with a little bit of our updates that are coming out in the podcast. So there's a couple things that are coming out. One is, please, if all avoidance, keep your top secret planes in the hangar at all times. And that would be a key thing to say to the military. Please keep your top secret hangar, or keep your top secret planes in the hangars at all times unless you are flying them. Because there's someone always watching.
What are you seeing,
What
Connor?
is that?
This is crazy. I don't know what I'm looking at.
What the
Oh my gosh, dude.
No way.
It has a huge headlight.
Yo, what?
You notice also it has a scattered debris field around it.
What is happening?
Well, light debris field around it, light field.
Oh,
yo.
That, I believe, is this plane. Believe it's hypersonic, and believe I found it on Google Earth. Please keep your hypersonic planes in the hangar at all times unless you're using them or flying them. Then we have the late, great Nick. Thank you, Nick, for always supporting the show. I want to give a shout out to him. Thank you, Nick, for supporting the show. You're still supporting us up there. And I appreciate everything you've done for us. Thank you. We also have a update, Tedesco Brother update. So, Tedesco Brothers have gotten a hold of me. It will be mid-August, I believe, that we will be getting together for this opportunity to explore the new Nightcrawler system and what they have going on as far as the UAP detection they're detecting. If it is mid-August, like they're saying, I'm probably going to have to ask them if this will also entail the meteorite shower. Maybe they're going to be doing it for it. If that's the case, I might actually just tag along with them for the meteor shower. Just to maybe watch it with them. Maybe that's why they want to try out their equipment. Maybe they have some new equipment to detect incoming things from orbit, space, anything like that. We'll find out right here on the Galactic Family Podcast. And we also have Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet coming up soon, holding fast in heavy seas. Wonderful, wonderful guy. Can't wait to talk to you. Thank you, Rear Admiral Tim, for everything you've done. And we'll definitely be in touch. Next, we have a supposed UFO landing, December 6th. Let me get the date here. This is oh, I guess it would help if I had it on the right one. Whoa. All right, this is December 6, 2013, a video showing an alien alleged craft and mysterious beings in the field. Let me see that again. Oh, wow. You just fall into it? Huh. Whoa. Okay, hold on. Whoa. There we go. There's a good shot. I don't know about this one. This might be real, but I don't know about the beginning. Huh. Hmm. Whoa. Okay, so they slowed down at the end. Hold on. Let's watch in super slow motion because we're going to be slowing it down more. Ooh. Hold on. Wait. I got to see this now. This thing looks like it has structural components to it that are not folding back up when it goes up. That's interesting. Now, this might be a real video, but the beginning might not be real. We have to test that hypothesis out. So now we've got a boat captain. This is 8/31/1994. Boat captain is in the high seas, and you see the sun, and then all of a sudden you see different objects.
They're being surrounded by friggin' UFOs. Our Coast Guard. 510, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 lights we see there. They've been coming on, they were 7 lights. Oh, this is a big help.
That's real.
They're keeping pace with us.
And they're keeping pace with the code. We've heard that story before. They do keep pace with stuff, and they are curious. All right, so now this is our favorite one that we love to go over here.
Guarda che è? È un aereo.
See an orb.
Guarda, guarda.
They run. I'll get it.
Ecco.
He runs, and then he sees the orb. Wow.
Che storia, guarda, guarda, ma che è?
This is an incredible
Ah, si è
video.
diviso, guarda che sto.
It really is. Ooh.
Oh.
It really
È
is.
volato via.
One of the most incredible videos I've seen.
Guarda, guarda, guarda. Si sta a muovere, si sta a muovere.
Wow.
Guarda, ce n'è uno piccolo che gli gira attorno.
Beautiful.
Guarda, sta scappando via. Verso il lago, guarda, 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 guarda che...
All right, guys. We're going to call the show for today. We had a great time with you today with the Galactic Family Podcast. And remember, for all your transportation needs, anybody who needs any transportation needs, they can always try to get a hold of myself. I can get you in touch with my brother, Jeremy. He has just started Albertson Transportation Services, LLC. And we'd love to hear about what you want transported, where you want it transported, and we'll see. we'll see. It's his business. He's running it. So I'm going to continue this for him, and hopefully we get him some good help along his journey. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into the Galactic Family Podcast. We will see you guys next week for another exciting episode. Next week, hopefully, we will have a guest joining us. Won't be saying who. It's going to be a surprise. If you are subscribed, not subscribed, I hope you will subscribe. This has been a great show today. And everybody here, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being part of the Galactic Family Podcast. I appreciate everything everyone has done for me and for my family here. And I wish everyone here the best of luck in everything that they are doing. Have a great night, day, guys. And yep, I'll see you on the Discord. Anybody who wants to be part of the Discords, there is a link in our YouTube. Click the link. You will be accepted as a Discord member as soon as you accept the rules of the Discord server. Our rules are that there's no bad mouthing. There's no putting down people. There's no, we hear your story. We let you talk. We listen. And we're here for everyone. Thank you, guys. See you for another episode of the Galactic Family Podcast next week on Friday. And if anything comes up before then, if you're tuned in, subscribe, you'll have your notification sent to you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night, great day.
Thing is real. It can't be.
I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program.
There is no spoon.
Let me be clear. UAP are real. Advanced technologies not made by our government or any other government are monitoring sensitive military installations around the world.
UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying overhead.
My name is Nick Pope, formerly from the British UFO Desk, and you're listening to the Galactic Family Podcast.
The signal has been received. The truth is still unfolding. The signal will continue with you.